Hello, my friends. Glad to be back. Today is 23rd of January. Now it's 1:30, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze, and you are on a channel in which I try to share latest news about informations that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. We do have quite interesting updates for this moment, so I hope you will find this video interesting, and if so, please push that like button, subscribe to my channel if you are new, leave some commentary, and share information about my channel with your friends on internet platforms that you are active. That will greatly help me to reach wider audience, and I'll be very much grateful. And before I begin, I want to thank you, all of you, every one of you who did subscribe to my channel already. We did reach 2000 mark, and that just simply makes me, very grateful and happy. So thank you for your time, attention, and support. Now let's talk about news, and as I said, there is some interesting updates that you may also find useful to know. And I will start with this news from that are reported by RIA Novosti news agency, one of main news agencies in Russia. So we have here information about battles that are going on around Bakmut, city of Bakmut, and we have official confirmation that Russian side did establish full control over the settlements of Dvurechye and Krasnopolevka in close proximity of Bakhmut. And now we can definitely say that Bakhmut is in operational encirclement. At least we have confirmation of this. I did also read today information that Russian side is continuing to push in direction of Zaporozhye. So later on today, probably we will have official confirmation about a few more settlements that Russian armed forces take under full control. Because of recent success of Russian side in Zaporozhye direction, Zelensky's regime is reinforcing its armed groups in this region. They are sending artillery and mechanized units to somehow stop Russian advance. And I have doubts that they will be able to stop Russian advance, but probably we will see even more intensification of fight in this area in next days. And same time, Russia has success in Donetsk region, and I read the information that Russian armed forces improve its position in certain areas around Donetsk city. As you know, Zelensky's regime has some very strong fortifications in that area, but it seems like Russian side is making some progress to establish control over the strongholds that Zelensky's regime has there. So we will probably hear some news about Russian advances in this direction too in coming days. Now let's talk about some other news, and here TASS news agency is reporting that Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki stated that Warsaw will officially ask Germany for permission to transfer Leopard 2 tanks that are in Polish service to Ukraine, but Poland will anyway send these tanks to Ukraine, even if Berlin will refuse to give such a permission. We did had this kind of statements from some other Polish officials in recent days, but now it's, we can say it's official because Polish Prime Minister is talking about it. So most definitely we will see Leopard 2 tanks on Ukrainian battlefield in next 2-3 weeks. It depends how long it will take to do some training, for Ukrainian tankers. Because like week ago, I did see reports from Polish bloggers, and they were saying that Warsaw was planning to send its Leopard 2 tanks with Polish crew, and Polish tankers refused to do so. And that's why Polish officials now seeking for more time to do some training for Ukrainian personnel. I did read today information on one of the Telegram channels that there are some reports from Nikolaev region from eyewitnesses that are saying that they saw Polish Leopard 2 tanks in Nikolaev region. But I did not see any confirmation of this information, not video, not photo evidence. So it's hard for me to say that Poland did already send tanks to Ukraine, but it may be, Maybe Warsaw did send dozens of its Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine in secrecy. Anyway, we will learn more about this development in the next few days. And here, continuation of this news, kind of. Here we have statement from Deputy of Polish Foreign Minister Arkadiusz Mularczyk, who did said that Germany will end up in isolation if Berlin will refuse to allow other NATO member states transfer of their Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. So, I don't understand what is wrong with these Polish elites, man. Why they are so keen to further escalate in Ukraine and get Poland more involved in this conflict. And I don't understand why Polish society is not actively making heard its voice that they are against it. I cannot believe that Polish people really want to be involved in this conflict. It's hard for me to believe this, man, that Polish people, Polish citizens are truly supporting these Nazi animals that are running Ukraine, man. They probably do learn history, isn't they? They probably know what Bandera and his people did to Polish people too. They massacred tens of thousands of Poles. Even Nazi Germans were shocked from atrocities that these Banderites were doing, not just against Jews or Russians or Belarusians, but against Polish people too. And it's hard to believe that Polish society is, all for support of these Nazis, man. I mean, it's just crazy though. But sadly, I do know some Polish bloggers that are trying to, uh, you know, oppose this kind of Polish involvement, but it's not enough. It's just simply not enough, man. But it is what it is, man. And here, this is RBK News Agency. We have statement from Foreign Minister of Germany, Annabella Baerbock, and she is saying that Germany will be government of Germany will be not against if some other countries will send Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. So quite possibly we can now say that Germany, because this person, this Annabella Baerbock, I mean, he's a foreign minister of Germany, so probably it's official now that Berlin will give permission to other countries that are operating Leopard 2 tanks to send those vehicles to Ukraine. So even though Germany itself will, for now at least, are refusing to send tanks in Ukraine, if we take this person, this Annabella Baerbock, seriously, and I do understand that it's hard to take this stupid bitch seriously. I mean, this is shame for German society, man. I mean, how they can allow this kind of, uneducated, stupid person to be foreign minister of Germany. I don't know. I mean, it's just shame for Germany. But still, man, if you take words of this person seriously, then it's official. Germany is, giving permission to other countries to send the Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. And that means Germany is involved in this conflict even more now. And this may ruin relationships between Moscow and Berlin for decades to come, quite possibly. Anyhow, I did talk about this tanks, man, this Western agenda, and Western propaganda. They are acting like these tanks will truly turn the tide. Of course, it's not like that. And many experts, including Western military experts, are saying that even facts that we already know are proving that these tanks will change nothing, except these deliveries of Western equipment, military equipment, will just prolong this conflict and do more harm to Ukraine itself, not just to Russia, but to Ukraine and Ukrainians, But they don't care. I mean, Western allies don't care about it. So, and those experts are saying it for simple reason. Ukraine already lost thousands of tanks and armored personnel carriers, and most of them were destroyed by artillery and by landmines. And there is no tank in the world, even though Leopard 2 tanks, Challenger 2 tanks, British ones, or US Abrams tanks, they are excellent military vehicles that are very capable, but they don't have, and no any other tank has protection from landmines or from artillery. And they will be destroyed. Most of them will be destroyed if they will end up eventually on the front line. And that's what probably we're going to see. Most of them will be destroyed by artillery, like many other Ukrainian tanks. Ukrainian tanks was destroyed. So, it is what it is, man. Moreover, man, Western tanks do have some disadvantage compared to, let's say, Soviet era tanks that Ukraine operates, or Russian tanks, and that is that Western tanks are much heavier. Much heavier. I mean, Leopard 2 is around 10 tons heavier than, for example, T-72, and that means that's a big deal, because probably we will see many of those Western tanks stuck in the mud. And I'm not sure those tanks will be able to cross, for example, some little bridges that are just everywhere, all around Ukraine, on little rivers, and so I'm not sure that those heavy tanks will be able to even cross those bridges in mass, But yet again, man, Western elites are very keen to prolong this conflict as much as they can, as long as it's possible, and that's what they are doing. So it is what it is. Let's see some other news, and I will wrap it up this video. Here we have information about a visit of Russian foreign minister in South African Republic. Even though Western elites and Western media is trying to, disinform or misinform Western audience with propaganda that Russia is somehow isolated from the world. I mean, Russian diplomacy is quite active and feels quite well. And to be honest, outside of Western world, we see this picture quite differently. I mean, we see that not Russia is isolated from the world, but Western states becoming more and more isolated from rest of the world. Because, more and more countries openly now are criticizing Western involvement in this conflict. Because no one understands why Western diplomacy not trying, or Western elites not trying to deal with this conflict with diplomacy, why they are increasing their military involvement in this conflict by sending so many weapons, and why there is no talks about peace in Washington, in London, in Brussels or Berlin or Paris or even in Warsaw. Why? I mean, no one in this world outside of Western states probably, understands that this kind of aggressive behavior from the Western states. Or maybe there is some understanding, because everyone knows that Western elites want to dominate the entire world, and they are taking on now on Russia, and if they succeed, next gonna be China. I mean, of course, but this understanding definitely don't mean that the rest of the world is accepting this. Everyone is against, And in future, we will see more and more voices from different countries, from different regions, against behavior of Western elites. So here we have information that Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov did visit South African Republic. It's gonna be serious talks about preparations to Russia-Africa Summit, which will take place in St. Petersburg in summer, from 26th to 29th of June. This summit's becoming kind of traditional, and I'm all for that, because Russia always was a good player, good hearted player in Africa, if I may say this way, because in Africa, many countries in Africa, many citizens of African countries do remember it, and they know that Soviet Union was a main ally of the fight for freedom from colonizers, from Western colonizers, and that's why we are seeing kind of kind of wave now developing in African countries, that pro-Russian wave, if I may say, and many more countries are now openly are supporting Russia and openly are saying that they want closer ties with Russia because they just know history. They remember that Soviet Union was very supportive of African countries, and Russia is quite supportive too. And yes, that's interesting development. And of course, Russian foreign minister will talk with leaders of the South Africa about BRICS and about possibilities that BRICS may become even bigger because, as you know, many countries in the world, including Saudi Arabia, including Argentina, and many others, want to become part of BRICS. And this union, this economical, first of all, union, becoming more and more influencer in the world, more and more influencing organization, and this trend will continue, I believe. So that's quite interesting development. In my understanding, it does show that Western propaganda is just full of lies, man. And many of citizens, probably majority of citizens in Western countries, probably think that Russia is truly isolated and no one is talking to Russia, but it's not true, man. It's Western countries that are becoming more and more isolated from the world from rest of the world, because it's hard to understand why Western elites are behaving in a way that they are behaving, So it is what it is, man. Let's see some other news. Here we have a statement from President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, who said that Eurasian economical union, this is a union of former Soviet republics, Russia, Belarus, I will give you exact information, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Russia are main members of this union, and Moldova, Uzbekistan, and Cuba are associated members. And Putin did say that this union has some good opportunities to become even more successful, and economical ties inside the union must improve even further. And I believe he has some good points, because this open conflict now between Russia and the Western world opens up a big question. How can you trust Western states truly? I mean, can you trust them? And the answer is obvious. No, you cannot. And latest reason for that, for example, these talks in Western capitals about not just freezing Russian assets, but to taking away from Russia, just to stealing those assets. Even freezing of those assets was illegal, but now they are talking to take for themselves these assets, and then transfer to Ukraine. I mean, what the hell, man? If you want to transfer to Ukraine anything, do it from your budget. Why you are stealing Russian assets? So, the rest of the world, I mean, everyone sees this kind of acting from Western elites, and of course they understand. I mean, uh, yes, they need, for now at least, some kind of cooperation with Western states, but there is some other ways too. And one of the ways is that Eurasian Economical Union. Second way is BRICS, and probably world will go this way. And as I said, Western states will find themselves more and more isolated from rest of the world. That's how it's gonna be, and it's obvious. It's just obvious. Here we have information from. Oh, this video is too long, probably, man. I have to 26 minutes already, 27. Okay, I will give you this news and one more, and that's it. Here we have information from Russian intelligence services that Ukraine is we have information that Ukraine is putting military equipment that they are receiving from the West in vicinity on territory of nuclear power plants. And here we have a specification. Russian intelligence is saying that just in recent days, Zelensky's regime did store ammunition from HIMARS multi-launch rocket systems and air defense systems that they received from West in territory of Romansk AIS, in Romansk nuclear power plant. And of course it's danger. Of course it's danger, and but I mean, yet again, I'm not surprised. And same time, I don't know what Moscow can do about it, because this so-called atomic energy, AIEA, whatever it is, it's obvious now that this international atomic energy is just puppet of the US Secret Services and British Secret Services. So, I mean, you cannot trust this organization, and this one is the only one that formally can do something about it, So if Zelensky's regime now putting its weapons on territory of nuclear power plants, that means that Russia may be forced to take some action and I don't know, send some special forces to these nuclear power plants to take control over them, or do something, and Russia may do something about it in near future if it continues. And one more news. Here we have a statement from Prime Minister of Japan, Fumio Kishida, and he's saying that Japan wants to reach peace treaty with Russia. You may not be familiar with this information, but since Second World War, Russia and Japan don't have peace treaty, and formally Russia and Japan are at war. I mean, it sounds crazy, of course, But if you have no peace treaty after war, then you are still in the war formally. And for all these decades, there were some talks, and Moscow and Tokyo will try to reach some agreement. But it seems like peace treaty between Moscow and between Russia and Japan will not be reached in near future or in foreseeable future, because there is no way Moscow will give up islands that Japan wants. Kuril Islands. There are 4 islands there that become under control of Soviet Union, and that was fixed in paperwork when Japan did surrender. But then, and that's how I see that Japanese cannot be trusted, Japanese elites. Then Tokyo changed its mind, and now they want these islands back, and it's not gonna happen, man. And if Tokyo will don't learn, they may lost even big islands in the future, and not to Russia, or not just to Russia. So they must be careful, because very strange times are coming, and they should be very careful there, because here in Russia we do have good memory, and for Japan will be better if they stay, if they knew their place, let's say that way. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. I'm gonna finish this video now. And if you find it interesting, please subscribe to my channel. If you are new, push that like button, leave some commentary about any topic that you think that are interesting for you. And yet again, if it's not too hard for you, please share information about my channel and link to my channel on platforms that you are active. That will be great help to me, and I'll be very grateful. So yeah, this is it for now. Have a nice and successful week, and see you soon. Take care.